so excited to be here. The whole time we're listening to that music, and I know that I have Fern here on the call today. The energy is just alive, and that is what we are going to talk about today. So, I would like to introduce to you, which way are you? The camera's backward. My lovely friend Fern, who is so many things. She is a life coach. She is an intensity coach, which, if you don't know what intensity is, I will let her explain that. But it is like the most energetic thing I've ever been to. She dragged me to it once at like 6 a.m. in Cincinnati. She is senior board member of Pure Romance. So she's a sexual health promoter and advocate. And this is the part that you guys aren't going to believe. Okay, I wish I could like zoom in on Fern. Let's look at her. She's freaking 60 years old. Like, first of all, you wouldn't know it by looking at her. Second of all, once you get to feel her energy, you you would also never know it. She is a lover of life, and she's someone who I have been so privileged to spend so much time with. We have traveled to so many different countries in the world, and she is postmenopausal until she can be here to show you part of the light side, what happens after menopause and how you can still have energy and vitality. And she is just the embodiment of grace and energy and class. And I am so excited to have her here today. So please, Fern, take the floor.
Woo! Well, thank you. Oh my gosh, that introduction. So can I come on every day for that?
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, woo, boosted up. So thank you so much for having me. I feel like this is such an honor, and having been in your masterclass for the past 2 evenings, I'm even more inspired than ever before for this topic and just for all of it. So where do I start? I mean, I just really feel that when women hear the word menopause, automatically our thoughts go to all of the negativity that menopause connotes. So low energy,
You can say vagina. It's okay.
vagina, low libido, moody, just waking, and so many negative terms that the word alone just automatically starts triggering our thinking. And we know that not only is our brain our most powerful sex organ, but our brain is our most powerful tool to begin with anyway. And our brain can't distinguish between what's real and what's imagined. And I don't know if any of you have heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza, have listened to him, have read any of his books. He has groundbreaking methods that he teaches, in that when you can envision something in advance and feel the feeling of what it is that you want in advance of the event, that you can actually change the trajectory and the course of your life. So that is something I really believe in. So imagine if the word menopause triggered all of the things that Kylie is teaching us with this Arctic Blonde revolution. I mean, we can really change and revolutionize the way we feel about menopause, about this phase of life, and about ourselves. So I'm super, super excited about what Kylie is bringing forth. It's so needed. And we're just all privileged to have access to this information that Kylie's bringing us.
It's so true, Fern. Your mindset is everything. And like I said to you just before we hopped on here, we had a couple minutes to chat. I saw that gap. Like, we have a little bit of medical and holistic sort of ideas around menopause, but we're lacking things like the women getting together for support and talking about it. And what I say is that I do the psychological and spiritual readiness for it, because it's this last 50% or half of our life, or 2/3 of our life, where it's the last part of our life. And so there's this spiritual attachment, and there's this mental mess that we haven't been taught to deal with, and we need to do that. And I often see in the menopause groups people saying, it drives me crazy, what can I take for this? What can I take for this? What can I take for this? And it's more than that. It's about what you're going to talk about moving your body. It's about listening to your body. It's about working through your mindset and how you look at it. And I believe that spiritual connection. So on the note of energy and moving your body. I have watched you. I mean, you tire me out, and I'm a high energy person, and I'm 44 and you're 60, 43. I don't even know how old I am. And the amount of energy that you have, like how when so many women are like, "Oh, I'm getting older and I'm postmenopause," and they don't have the energy, how do you cultivate that? How do you harness that? What could you tell people out there that feel like they just have no energy? When you were going through menopause, did you still have it? What did it take? Like, tell us some about that.
So, well, first of all, I remember being in Puerto Rico with you and playing soccer with a coconut. So your energy is nothing to see. Let me tell you, we're taking a coconut down the road. I mean, it was kind of crazy, but so that's a really good question. As I was going through menopause, I don't really know that I accepted that this was actually happening. Like, I know once it was a full year after my period, which was about 6 years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, that I knew that that's what it meant, but I didn't want to really acknowledge that that would mean anything different for my life. So I just have always continued to do the things that I've always done. And I'm really passionate about moving my body and exercise. But I think I didn't give into any idea of what might this mean for my life now that this has happened. I think I just have the mindset, I still have the mindset of like when I was 30, and I just haven't given into anything. And so
I love that.
I feel that, because your brain is so powerful and what you think about, you bring about, and identity drives behavior. So I'm identifying as my younger self continuously, that when I just turned 60 last month, it was like, sometimes I have to smack myself and I say, like, am I really that number? And, yes, I can see the signs in the mirror and all that kind of stuff, but I don't feel any different than I felt as my younger self.
I love that. That is so amazing. And some people who hear this, I don't know for sure, but some might think, "Oh, okay, well, she was born with that. Like she just has high energy level and she has that mindset. She's been doing it forever." So, what would you say, Fern, to someone who would be listening to this call and think like, "Well, that's not me. I haven't always been exercised. I do feel like I'm getting old." Like, what can someone do to start to implement that into their life so that they can have energy and vitality after 60, after 40, after whatever?
Yeah, I mean, this is not to say it's all been Pollyanna, rainbows, and butterflies. I mean, I have had my days for sure. Um, I think that, well, there's a couple of things. I think fighting through it. So, having had the opportunity to see Mel Robbins speak and her 5 4 3 2 1, certain things that resonated with me, I sort of just embraced it and tried to fight through those days. And maybe I wasn't up to it. Maybe I was having, some low energy or just wasn't feeling my tip top self or my tip top shape, and just trying to fight through it, but also giving myself the grace and the respect that I need on those days that maybe my energy was a little bit lower. So for someone who's feeling, well, wait, hey, like that's not me. I mean, it takes me everything just to get out of bed and go to work, let alone forget like exercise or anything extra. I would say that it's really important to tap into a feeling that you think you might want to have. So if the feeling of that you have now is not an ideal feeling, try to think about what would be a feeling that might feel better. So even when you're in that, maybe that low vibe or that low energy state, maybe think about like, wow, it would be really nice to be feeling higher energy. It would be really nice to be feeling better. It would be really nice to want to get up and move my body, and just sit with that feeling. Because
Nice.
if you can sit with the feeling in advance of actually being able to get up and go or get up and do whatever it is that you think you might want to. It's little tiny habits that will just sort of start to formulate if you continue to tap into that feeling. So even if it's, wow, I would love to be able to get up and go take a walk. I think it would help me feel better, because when you move your body, you move your mind. It's just true. I mean, just the other day, I was feeling very low vibe energy, and I got up and I went for my walk that I always do, and it was transformational. So after my walk, I literally felt like back to my old self. And I even posted something on my Facebook: when you move your body, you move your mind. So imagine yourself walking, and then maybe the next day, walk for 2 minutes. Just say, I'm just going to do it. If nothing happens, nothing happens, but I'm just going to do it. And maybe for a month, your habit is to walk for 5 minutes. And that's it. Make it small so that it's achievable, so that you can actually accomplish it and feel good about that. So if something that you want to do is maybe exercise more, move your body more, if you're going to say, oh, I'm going to exercise for an hour every day, for the next month, that's very daunting to go from no exercise to exercising for an hour. So starting out for just a few minutes a day or 5 minutes a day, by the end of a month, see how you feel. Just commit to it for 30 days. And if you were able to achieve that, then the next month you can institute another habit. And it's these little habits that you just sort of fight through and just kind of move yourself into and force yourself into, that will start to create that identity shift. And the identity drives behavior.
I love that, Fern. I love that, because it's true. If I pictured when you were saying that, like laying in bed on the days where you just can't get up, you can't do anything, and then putting your mind into, okay, well, I want to feel like this. What would that feel like? And visualizing it. And then what you're actually doing neurologically is you're activating your reticular activation system, which is like the mind's little investigator that's like, oh, you want to feel like this? And then it will start picking out things in your life that will show you like what is something that you can implement. And it will just start looking for it because you're laying there thinking about it. And then those small steps, like for anyone who needs to hear this, if you drop 1 can of Pepsi or soda, because some of you are American, soda, we call it pop up here. If you drop 1 can of soda or pop per day, after 2 years, that's 30 pounds that you would lose. So those tiny little things, they're huge shifts, and they might seem like something small, but they're really huge. And so I love what you said about that. And I do want to go back to the high energy Fern thing, because when I think about me and you being on a call, and I think about like the energy that was happening as we're like listening to the music before everything started and we're getting excited, like, what about making it fun? Doc, like Intensati is something that's really intense, but it's also really super fun. Like, what would you give people who maybe do have energy, but they're like, I'm bored of what I'm doing, or my body hurts, or, the different things that happen during menopause? What would you say to that?
Yeah, it's so true about the reticular activating system, that your brain will start to look for evidence of what you are feeding into your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to do what resonates with you. If Intensati is something that gives me life, it's actually a workout that combines yoga and dance moves and interval training and kickboxing, but it's put to
And affirmations.
yes,
I am the light of my life. I am.
it's put to positive affirmations. So moving your body in this way and giving the psychology with the physiology produces this euphoric feeling where you can't help but feeling uplifted and inspired and enthused. So maybe for someone at home where they're like, it's really hard for me to get to move my body, you could find a workout buddy and do it on Zoom. You could put on a song that you love and just commit to dancing to one song a day by yourself. Put on your favorite. I know everybody listening to this must have a favorite song. Put on the favorite song and just dance freestyle to one song a day. And just notice and write down how you feel after that one song dance.
Mm.
Guarantee you that every single person watching this can not only do that, because even if you have a broken leg or you can't get up and move, you can sit in a chair and you can start to, just move your body, even in a chair, even just doing this move, uplift. This move is called uplift, when you're just sort of moving the energy with your hands like this. Just doing this alone automatically starts to move energy, and everybody can do that. So there's actually something called chair sati. So you can even do intensati in a chair. But I am a firm believer, and I do believe this is what helped me out through my entire journey. I started going through menopause, I believe it was a year around the age of 55. I can't remember if it was 54 or 55, but I think it was 55 when it became a full year that I didn't have my period. So it started in 54 and that full year was 55. And I really believe that a big thing that helped me through to not have so many of the things that people do experience, which I know I did have some hot flashes here and there, but nothing was ever so bad. I mean, I really can't remember moving through this phase and thinking like it was so bad. And I believe it was because that I kept moving my body. I kept exercising.
That's
And
amazing.
filling my head with reading positive things, listening to positive podcasts, not to spiritually bypass and to not acknowledge and to sweep under the rug, like you were talking about last night, like when you took out your awards and you grieved that time period in your life. So not to spiritually bypass, which is to push it under the rug, but to just continue to find things that bring you joy. And you
Yeah.
can have the joy and the abundance and the wealth. And I don't mean in terms of money, although it can be the money, there can be wealth in terms of finances, but I mean just wealth in terms of health and vitality, relationships, fulfilling relationships, being around people that fill your cup, reaching out to people that fill your cup, keeping your inner circle small enough so that you have people you can love and you can trust.
I love that. Like your exercise plan is more than just moving your body. It's moving your mind, it's moving your heart, it's surrounding yourself with those things that bring you joy, and that is where the vitality comes from. And unfortunately, as you may know from not dealing with, but from interacting with your life coach clients, is that that's the number one thing that I find is my clients don't even know what they love. They don't even know what it is that brings them joy, and when they do, they feel guilty. Like they feel guilty that they want to go do something just for themselves, and there's so many things around that. Before I forget, one of the things that you said was physiology, and this is one of my favorite topics. So I was sitting at a brain scan one day, and I was sitting at the brain scan, and she attaches this thing to your brain, and you get to watch your brain waves. And I forget what she was recording, but we were doing some. I love brain stuff. So um, I was watching the screen, and I was sitting like this, and the screen was like just regular brain scan. And then I'm like, I started doing this because I wasn't, I was just like, okay, this is kind of boring. I'm just watching the screen. And all of a sudden, everything started changing. And she's like, sit back up for a second. And I sat back up and I changed my physiology, and my brain went back to proper waves. And so even for someone who might have a hard time putting, a lot of exercise or a lot of energy out there, just changing your physiology can change your mind, that can help you think more about how you want to feel, be able to picture that, activate your reticular activation system, and then help you to move more and implement those little habits. That's really the whole thing, Fern. I love it. I love it. Like they say, diet isn't just what you eat, it's what you consume and who you're around and what you watch and all of the things. But also exercise is about having new things to learn and be passionate about. And I love that you said that.
Yeah, I mean, and people, who don't know where to start, because I'm supposed to be eating this. and having this kind of diet, or I'm supposed to be, I mean, we're being fed so many different things about just what we're putting in our mouths. How do we know what to believe? And I firmly always will just say, no matter what, I mean, just like you say, no two people are alike. Everyone is like a snowflake. No two snowflakes are alike. No two people are alike. And so there are people that are not going to feel good on a raw vegan diet. There are going to be people that swear by a raw vegan diet and everything in between, right? There's going to be some people that just don't function as well if they're not eating meat. And then there are people who don't function well if they eat meat. And you have to figure out which diet works for you. Yes, in terms of what you consume, in terms of what you eat and drink, but also who you surround yourself with, what you listen to, what's on your social media feed. How many times do you hear, Kylie, and I'm sure you hear this plenty, where people complain about something that's going on in their social media? And I question, why are you following them? Why are you still friends with them if they're bullying or there's something going on that's just not sitting right and it's disrupting your whole equilibrium, right?
Yeah, your whole entire nervous system.
And when you first wake up, that is the most precious time that your brain is there to receive. It can also be the most anxious time when you first wake up. So what you put into your brain in the first 10 minutes when you wake up, or even the first half hour, is so critical for how your day's going to go. And how many people do this the first second they wake up?
What do you do when you wake up? Because that's very interesting, because I don't even sleep with my phone in my room, and I have a miracle morning every morning. I don't touch any of this stuff. What about you?
Same. I mean, when I first wake up, I make hot water with lemon. It's very cleansing. I feel like I'm just giving my body something that is really cleansing and nourishing.
Coffee. Coffee.
I stopped drinking coffee a year ago, which was the hardest thing I've ever done. Hardest thing I've ever done. But I stopped drinking for a variety of reasons, but that's another conversation. So, and then after I have that lemon water, I put on a meditation. And I'm filling my brain. I'm getting myself prepared for the day. Who do I want to be? How do I want to show up in my day? And in the morning, it's the birth of the new day. That's when I have the most opportunity to be whoever I want to be in that day. So I want to start it out the very best way. And then I don't always do it. I'd love to get a little better about it. When you have your miracle morning every day, I'll be thinking of that. But I was really great about journaling after meditating, and just to get kind of just a newsreel of my brain, just a brain dump of what's something I'm grateful for, because when you tap into gratitude, that automatically changes your brain. Something I'm grateful for, something I'm looking forward to, and something that I felt maybe was a win from the day before. Just anything that's kind of floating through my brain. I think it's really important to get it out on paper. Maybe something I want to tell someone, or a phone call I need to make.
Yeah. So I need to acknowledge in this moment that you and I are both entrepreneurs. And so we are privileged with the time that we have in the morning. And that isn't the case for everybody. And so one of the suggestions that just kind of popped up for me was something that I learned from my upline with your company when I was with your company. And it was a 6-minute miracle morning. And so for anyone, even if you don't have time, your 6 minutes is, hopefully I can remember this because I had not thought about this till right now, but it is 1 minute of reading, 1 minute of exercise, 1 minute of meditating, 1 minute of gratitude, 1 minute of journaling, and 1 minute of intention. I think those were the 6. I could have it wrong, but I'm sure Google will sort me out if anyone wants to Google that.
It's Hal Elrod, so that's.
Oh, there you go.
I think it's Hal Elrod, right?
I have no idea. I just know that when I started doing my miracle mornings, which have turned into an hour and sometimes 3 hours if I get really into it, but that 6 minutes was what started it every day. Me and my family did 6 minutes in the morning. Fern, I just noticed there's some comments over here. Lori's chatting away with us, and we're not. I'm not seeing her stuff. So one of the things she said is, I'm high energy as well, but I do give my permission to have what I call a know nothing day and spend the day decluttering my brain and body by doing nothing, and I feel no guilt. I think that's really important too. That's exercise too, is rest. Like rest and play. Martha Beck says, Martha Beck, if you don't know who that is, you have to know who that is. Martha Beck says, you rest until you feel like playing, and then you play until you feel like resting. And that should be inclusive of everything, including your work. The rest is so important. And, you know, Lori says she has no guilt, but a lot of women do have guilt around that.
Well, that's amazing that you don't have guilt, Lori. And that is such a gift that you're giving yourself to be able to do that without the guilt, especially because how is it serving anybody to feel, you know, I'm not going to do anything today, but then feel guilty about it? It's sort of counteracting the whole intention behind giving yourself the day to do nothing or whatever it is, you know, that you want to do. It doesn't have to be an activity.
Yeah. And it's so important, if you decide today is not the day for me to move my body, then be okay with that and make the attention, the cells in my body and all of the organs and everything that makes this vehicle help me walk through life needs a rest day. And I'm okay with that. Today is about rest because I want to feel revitalized for tomorrow, right?
And I remember there was a class you taught at one of my team retreats, and I think it was a dream journal. And a lot of my teammates started keeping a dream journal under their pillow. And even if they didn't have time during the day or in the morning, before they went to sleep, they were able to write in their dream journal. And that was really powerful.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, I'm glad stuff stuck with the people at that retreat. That was fun. Okay, so I like to keep these calls to about 30 minutes. So we've got a couple minutes left. So you're going to probably kill me for asking you this, but Fern, if we could like package up what it is that you have in your energy and put it in a little box and sell it to the world, what would it be? Like, what would that thing be? Or what is that piece of advice you have for people to really tap into what it means to feel alive and energetic?
Yeah. A great question. I mean, and I can go so many different directions with that. I know that being around people brings me energy. I love to help and I love to inspire and I love to make a difference in other people's lives. And I want to watch other people reach their potential, but also being able to surround myself with the people that fill my cup. And I really encourage you all, whoever's watching this, to examine what you're filling your day with, what you're filling your mind with, what you're filling your time with, and to see if you can fill your time with things that bring you more joy because you deserve it. And especially moving into this phase of life, you really owe it to yourself to give yourself that grace and just allow yourself. So if you could package me up in a box, I mean, I want to spring out of this computer and just dance with everybody and, you know, just hug you all and big virtual hug. So
Oh,
I don't know how else to say it, but really, I think you and I are so alike in that we just want to help.
yeah, and I love that. I love your energy. Something that I heard that I fully believe to be true that is integrated into my body, my mind, and my soul until I find another piece of information to prove it wrong. And if this doesn't resonate with you, then it wasn't for you. And it's a short sentence that really changed my life was, if you're tired, it's because you're not inspired.
Ooh.
And it's true. If you think about the times when you are low energy in your life, how much inspiration do you have? See if that's true for you. Just think about that. Maybe let that be the takeaway. Because what Fern has talked about on this call is her brain being challenged with new things, being inspired by new things, being inspired by people she cares about and that she loves to be around, being inspired by new energy. I mean, this woman hikes mountains and she skis crazy places with me that she doesn't particularly want to go, but she does it anyways. She does intense sati and all of these new things. And so just think about that. If you really don't have any energy and you're tired, maybe you're not inspired.
That's so good.
You're so good.
No, I mean, how many times have you felt tired, but you had like an invitation to go somewhere and You go out and all of a sudden you're not tired anymore, right?
Mhm.
Or you come on a call with Kylie and all of a sudden, ding, ding, ding.
Awesome. Oh, Fern, I really appreciate you taking the time to come here today. And I love that you're in the masterclass with us. It's day 3 tonight of the masterclass. And I'm so excited that you've been with me on this journey for years with me, and that you're here in the group sharing stuff with people. I think that you're a very inspiring person, and hopefully it will help some people feel less tired.
Thank you so much. Mwah.
You are so welcome. I think I can even like turn on some like music in the background as we log out here. Like, okay, thanks for being here for this call today, and I wish you all energy and vitality.